Adesh, Namaskar. I wanted today to cover one interesting question that recently was asked in the chat about the life and the paths of life and the senses of life. And the question is how social is working with spiritual, how spiritual path overlaps with the social. It is a very, very common and very good question because many people who live in families, who live with active social life, they sometimes feel that they miss on spirituality, and vice versa. There are people who follow spiritual path, and they might feel that they miss something about their careers or money or travels experiences. Basically, there are two ways, two paths, two positions, two points how we can look at it. The first one is when spirituality is a part of your day-to-day life, or overall is a part just of your social life. In this case, spirituality helps people to give some senses to what is happening in their life, why things happen. Spirituality will most likely answer to the question, why this is happening to me, what is my purpose, what is my mission in life, am I doing the right thing, am I on the right direction. Spirituality will hopefully bring the peace into the heart and into the mind of the person. And by the spirituality, I mean any religion, any belief. When people don't believe in anything, they're, for example, agnostics, this is still a belief. The other way is when social life, or the life which we call active in society, is itself a tool or a mean for spirituality and spiritual development. When every action in life, when every situation, every connection, every little moment of life is, let's say, used by people from the perspective of their spiritual development or their spiritual path. In this case, everything that happens in life can be perceived as the tool for the evolution of the soul. In a way, we can connect it to karma and getting free from karma. So everything that happens to the person, with the person, is a way to stay pure and to get higher purity level. Sometimes, for this exact reason, people would leave society. They would go and live in ashrams, monasteries, in the forests, in the mountains, just to avoid unnecessary actions and maybe dedicate more time to inner practices rather than outward interactions with the world. Neither way is good or bad. The thing with living the social life is a need to make sense out of it. And what spirituality does, what meditation can do for you, is to help you achieve the level when you don't need to make sense out of life. You don't need to explain the life to yourself because the life itself then makes perfect sense for you. This happens on the levels of spiritual, maybe the word enlightenment will work here. It can happen to a person for just 1 second, for example. Or this state can be uncovered and a person can get deeply rooted into this higher state, this state of non-duality, the state of understanding, the state now beyond mind. This is a state which is timeless, where the sense for the individual purpose is connected to the universal sense, where you don't think anymore, but you perfectly perceive. There is no judgment in this state, and therefore you cannot really even force yourself to think about the sense of the life. It is really not easy to talk about it because it is not describable with words, but through the words we can transition some of these states, because this is how it works. I would say that definitely the ultimate purpose is not to differentiate social and spiritual, because spiritual is in everything which is social. But this is a nice concept which requires a lot of work to be attained or manifested or perfected in one's life. This spirituality, it is mystery. It is the path inwards, while the whole nature of this world is moving outwards. So sometimes, just sometimes, it can be challenging. There can be blockers on the way. Practitioners hit the walls or so-called golden ceilings or glass ceilings. But if you follow the belief, and if you practice not for the sake of yourself And if you surrender to the nature, to the forces, they then happen to be on your side. I'm by not means saying that we need to kick it back, sit on the sofa and do nothing. Every action, everything that we do will have the consequences, or it already has. So the spirituality would be not about sitting and waiting until the higher states unfold in your consciousness. It would be a continuous work, should it be in social life or away from society. But you can definitely know that when life makes perfect sense for you, even you can't describe it, it is a way how the mystery of spirituality and the mystery of consciousness acts. You know how you can look at one object for a long time, and just by looking at it, you can start meditating. And this object not necessarily needs to be some picture of saint or some symbol of spiritual path. It can be any object. It is because the nature of the universe is everywhere. What I am saying is that social and spiritual is way not far apart. It is so much closer than sometimes we think it is. Just a matter of the perspective. I think that is it. Thank you and good luck.